right, folks, we're back, and we have an absolutely great guest on with us, and you are just not going to believe his latest adventure, and it's just really, really exciting and very, very different and unique. Zack Ward, he's been an actor and an entrepreneur in a lot of different arenas, and now he's partnering with an NHL player, Bernie Nicholls. They have this great new venture called the Global Sports Financial Exchange, and Zack's on going to explain that to us. Hopefully we'll get to talk about some of his movie resume and that kind of thing. But Zack, thank you so much for fitting this into your schedule, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, so let's get right to this. You're going to have to, you can explain it to us all and kind of help us understand the Global Sports Financial Exchange. And we know that you've explained that it's not betting and gambling, so we're going to have to try to understand exactly what it is and how it works.
Sure. Go to the website allsportsmarket.com. And what you're looking at is the first and only stock market of sports teams in the world. So let's do the comparison between gambling and investing. Gambling wins only when you lose. Investing wins when you win, when you make trades, when you buy, and you actually own something. So have you ever been to Vegas?
Well, of course. I mean, so it's more like a stock then, basically.
It is a stock.
Okay.
And if you ever go to Vegas, there's a place called Caesar's Palace.
Okay.
And there's no Zack's Palace, there's no Brandon's Palace, there's no everybody listening Palace, because people lose their money for Caesar to make his palace. Now, when it comes to the stock market, you're buying shares in a team. So say, for example, what's your favorite team?
Well, I'm broadcasting live out of Tampa, so my stocks are probably pretty cheap. I can get in on the Tampa Bay Bucks pretty economically right now, I bet.
Sure, yes, you can. But let's say the Tampa Bay Bucks. So you bet $100 on the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I'm going to buy $100 worth of shares in the Tampa Bay Bucks. They play the next game, and unfortunately, they lose. You got nothing. I still have my 100 shares. Then they play another game. My shares are still there. If they win, I get dividends. You still have nothing. Even after the season is over, I still own all my shares. During the off season, if they build a new stadium, get a new manager, and while they're going drafting, getting some new teammates, or one of those athletes turns around and tweets out to some kid on the internet that he got bullied, and he's like, hey, I want to invite you to the game, and the entire country is like, oh, what a great fella. Well, my shares are not going up in price. And I own those shares forever. You still have nothing. So your gambling has worked out for the casino and the bookie. The investing has worked out. I still own it forever. So that's the difference between gambling and investing.
So
and even when the teams, go ahead.
So how are the stakeholders, who's kind of like defining like how many shares there may or may not be, or how do they sort of quantitate like the value of a share? Is it just based on a trading price?
Exactly. Just like the New York Stock Exchange or any exchange in the world, the share price is created by the market. So when you start an IPO, and if every single share is valued at the same price, basketball, football, hockey, and baseball, and if every single team on every single sport is coming out at the same price, let's say $1, and you go, all right, well, the market cap is $100 million. It's like you add them all up, it's worth $100 million.
Okay.
But the market says, well, I actually really like the Buccaneers. I really like the Dodgers. I really like the 49ers, and I'm willing to pay more money to buy them. Now they've controlled the market price, just like the stock exchange does. So now it's gone from a $100 million market cap in 3 years ago to $2.7 billion market cap.
Wow.
And that's because the market makes the decision. So if you came on board and said, I'm going to buy $500 of the Dodgers, and then the Dodgers are killing it, and you want to sell it, well, you're actually selling it for 2 or 3 times what you bought it for. And I'm not paying you that. It's the market is willing to buy it for that, just like the stock exchange.
Okay. All right. All right. Give the name of the website again. Make sure we understand. Allsportsmarket.com.
Allsportsmarket.com. And what's really cool is there is a learning market as well as a pilot market. So learning market is basically monopoly money. You join up, and it says, all right, thanks for joining. Here's $2,500 to go play and see if you understand how this works. And if you have any questions, here's tutorials. Don't be intimidated. Easy access to understand investing. Okay, costs you nothing. If you want to actually buy shares, there's the pilot market, which you can put up to $2,500 per year.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's
really fascinating. So how did all of this sort of like begin? Where was the midnight moment where this actually clicked and made sense?
Well, it's actually been a long time in the works, about 15 years. And my partners in the company, Ace Underhill and Chris Roblay, they were working on this 15 years ago when they were seeing the damage that offshore sports betting was doing to people. People were losing their houses, their families, their kids, their jobs. And they're like, there has to be a better way. And there never has been. In the entire history of mankind, the only way to interact sports and money is gambling. And there's a lot of collateral damage caused by that. So Chris and Ace, they came up with this concept and they built it. And then the economy took a dump in 2008, 9-ish, and they restarted. And so this is the second launch, and it's really going fantastically. We're very excited.
So you as a sports fan, do you sit back and are you kind of amazed at how people are responding to certain teams or not and certain trading, and how does it really kind of mirror what you would expect in real life activity, or is it just as sort of like the bizarre human nature we see on the stock exchange sometimes?
Yes to both of those. Yes to both of those things. Because people make some crazy decisions. You go back to who is it? Not the Pittsburgh Pirates, but it's is it the Vikings? There was a team that the Cheeseheads. Where are they?
Packers.
Was it the Packers, where they were losing their team, and then they actually sold quote stock into their team, and the whole city came behind them. The thing that's amazing to me about sports is that it's not only something that you enjoy watching and you enjoy the statistics of, but you have an affinity to because it relates to who you are as a person, for where you live, the legacy of your family that was involved and loved it, your childhood, sitting watching that game with your grandpa, your grandma, and it means the world to you. It's a dynamic, constantly growing fan base, and there are more sports fans in the world than there are demographic divisions between men and women, and that's huge. And it's regardless of your religion, regardless of your race, regardless of what country you come from, everybody believes in sport. And I mean sport at the level of epitomizing the human ideal. That's why we have the Olympics. We strive to be better. We're inspired by those who have broken mediocrity to become something that's great. And it is important to us. And it's part of the fabric of our culture to become and desire to become more. And sport is that vision. And that's the other thing that we love about this, is that, gambling causes a lack of integrity in sport. You start doubting the players. Pete Rose got kicked out of the Hall of Fame because of that. But investing, you can't manipulate the players by investing in the team. You can't manipulate the game by investing in the season. There's no way to physically do it.
Right.
And there's no motivator. So you take that negative away from sports and money. You maintain the joy that you get. We've had people who have massive gambling problems transition to this and tell us that it saved their lives and their marriages and it kept them with their children. And I love sports, but I'm going to tell you, there is no better, more important team in your life than your family. And you can actually do this with them.
Amen, brother. Zack Ward is discussing with us the Global Sports Financial Exchange. It is called allsportsmarket.com. It is a fascinating new way to look at involving your life with your favorite sports team, or just maybe you enjoyed gambling and fantasy sports and those kinds of things. It's a completely new version of buying stock and investing in that team's performance and their monetary value on the open market. Fascinating. Now, Zack, so obviously this is an incredibly different twist from the days of your acting resume, and I would be remiss if I totally let you off the hook by at least trying to reminisce about a few of those. And I know it'd be easy to jump to A Christmas Story, but I want to save that for last. I have to ask you about a film most people don't know about these. A couple of films. I'm a total nerd at heart, so I have to be honest. You actually get to have a cool death scene in a Michael Bay film because you were in the Transformers film.
Yes. Yeah, I was in the first Transformers.
And
yeah,
at least you don't go out lame. You have a memorable death.
Thank you. That was actually a lot of fun to shoot. We're on set